Welcome to NSA e-Nugget series. My name is Robin Ho. I'm from Credit Counseling Singapore. Today we are going to talk about the subject of retirement. Are you sensibly ready? Some of you out there might be thinking the word sensibly is wrongly spelled. Not to worry, we have purposely put in sensibly to bring to your attention that we'll start from the basics, and from cents we get dollars. Let's begin with a poll question. How ready are you for retirement? 1, not at all ready. 2, somewhat ready. 3, almost ready. And 4, I'm absolutely ready. Now we would like for you to put your answers, and then we'll take and see the results. You are not at all ready because you haven't given it any thought. So not to worry, we will learn something today. You're somewhat ready. You have thought about it, but you have not acted upon it. You're almost ready because you have found out a lot about it and you are all ready for it, except that you still have things not done. And of course, when you are so ready, means you have thought through it, you have done it, prepared yourself for it. So whichever state you are in, we'll see what your answers are. You will be helped, all right, through today's talk. Okay, we've got a majority answer that says somewhat ready. Well, that's good. At least you are not at the stage where you are not at all ready. Okay. What can you take away from today's sharing? First, what are the 3 must-haves for a sensible retirement? Next, we would like to remind you that it's not too late to plan, even if you have not done so. And finally, we'd like you to take away 3 steps you can take that will prepare you even though you may be at the last minute or late stage planning. How do you imagine your retirement to be like? Maybe you think of going on a cruise and taking a holiday overseas. Perhaps you want to stay home to read all the books that you have not found time to read while you are not in retirement. And perhaps you have some skills in baking cakes you want to share with your friends and relatives and neighbors. Or you could have high tea with your friends on a regular basis. If you have grandchildren, wonderful. You might want to spend some time out with them. Or you could do some very meaningful work in your retirement, work that you have not found time to do, voluntary work, helping others. You see the article from today. It says a big read in short. And the title is Hard Truths About Retirement. What are these hard truths? Here's what is reported. In the coming years, Singapore will have to grapple with mounting multifaceted challenges, not just from one angle, but many angles, that have already put strain on financial security of today's retirees. What are these? So what are your main concerns as you approach retirement? Is it about not having an income or adequate savings to live out your retirement? Perhaps you are more conscious about rising costs, or perhaps you are afraid that you may not be able to maintain your current standard of living. Lack of financial support from family, perhaps. In case if you don't have enough, can you turn to them? Or maybe you think about the fact that you might have an illness and that you may not be able to afford medical and healthcare costs when they come upon you. To retire sensibly, you must be able to address these concerns. And as you know, they are all or mostly financial related concerns. Yeah, I love coffee. Many of you out there are probably of the same mind. So we are going to start with an illustration of your favorite cup of kopi susu. Concern number one in retirement is longevity. As the article have shown that Singapore have longest life expectancy at 84.8 years, which is true. Average Singaporean enjoys a long span of good health. But there are also years that are spent in poor health as they age. So the longer you live, the more will your retirement cost you. Next concern, number two, is what we call inflation. You are very familiar with this term, but what is it really? It's really about a rise in general prices, where your money effectively buys less than it previously did. Yeah, we take the example of kopi susu that we mentioned about. Let's take a look. Today, with $30, you are able to buy, let's say, 20 cups of coffee at $1.50 each. Assuming that the inflation is 0.6%, of course, 0.6% is the current real inflation rate taken from the Department of Statistics. With an inflation of 0.6, it means that your coffee is going to now cost $1.60 per cup. And with the same $30, how many cups can you buy? Only 18 cups. Now, concern number three is about interest rates. Interest rates is like the return of the money you put in the bank. So where would you keep your money in? Would you put it in the bank where the interest rates are really low? Or would you just stash away the money in cash form in a jar? So it's important that we think about interest rate not by itself, but also relative to inflation. So given the early example, $30 put in the bank buys you 20 cups of coffee at $1.50 per cup. With inflation, it has gone up. But the money that you put in the bank is also earning interest, assuming it is 0.6%. 10 years later, it will be $32. And with that $32, and with the coffee going up from $1.50 to $1.60, you can still buy 20 cups Why? Because the money in your bank earns interest, right? So instead of 18 cups, you now still get 20 cups. We then come to the last concern, which is what we call market risk. Of course, when we talk about market, we are talking about money that we put in the marketplace. So it's financial in nature. Many of us can put it in the bank and we know it doesn't give us a lot of returns. So the only way is often to think about investing as the way to increase your wealth. You may put money in bonds, which are pretty safe, but with very low returns. Or you can put them in stocks where the volatility is very high. It can go up and it can come down. But the returns, if it goes in the right direction, makes you a lot of money. Or you can invest in property, because these are big chunks of money. So what happened if you remember in 2008, Lehman Brothers collapsed. They were selling mini bonds. And who are the distributors? Our local banks. And because of that collapse, 10,000 people or retail investors in Singapore lost over $500 million in total. Yeah, some people have lost it all and then they had to scramble to put together some money to pay for a cancer treatment. So I want you to know that you are talking about market risk. Basically, you put it in investments, but you may never make money out of it. So there's no such a thing as sure win. So just to recap the 4 concerns about retirement and how it will affect you. Longevity, yeah, the longer you live, the question comes up, will I run out of money? Do I need to spend more money for medical and healthcare needs as I age? Inflation, can I continue to afford basic and daily necessities, things that I need? Now they are going to get more expensive in the future, such as food, transport, medical, and healthcare. 3, interest rates or returns, like we said earlier. Is my retirement savings earning interest that can keep pace with inflation? And finally, market risk. Can I afford to take risks when I'm approaching retirement? Because if you lose it all, you lose it all. And how are you going to live out your retirement? What does it mean to retire comfortably? This is what we all might have started out thinking about. But I'd like to bring you down to earth and we'll take a look at what does it mean to retire sensibly. To retire sensibly, there are 3 things you must remember as being the foundation of retirement. Have income to last your lifetime. Have a home and a neighborhood to live out your retirement days, what we call age in place. And have access to medical and healthcare costs. Have access to medical and healthcare. And most importantly, still enjoy your retirement. Let's take a look at the first one, an income for life. In retirement, you have no more payday from your work. Why? Because you stop working. So where is your retirement income going to come from? It could come from regular pocket money from your children. It could come from rental of property, or maybe the extra rooms that you have in your house. Your interest rates from savings, your dividends from investments in stocks, your payouts from an annuity. I highlighted annuity so that we can discuss the subject shortly. Now, of course, the regular pocket money from children may not be regular or consistent. Interest payments from savings. This is quite obvious. All of us know how low the interest rates were. Then, of course, we have dividends from investments in stocks. That is what we call market risk. You could win big, you could lose big as well. So what is an annuity? An annuity is really an insurance. It is not an investment. Don't mix it up. It provides a guarantee. It gives you a regular payout during your retirement. The payout may be until the end of life, depending on the type of annuity you buy. Do you know of any example at all of an annuity? Yeah, it's very near to us, yeah. The CPF Life. You can check it out on the CPF website. Okay, your sensible retirement checklist. The first one we have just done. Next, we take a look at having a home and your neighborhood to live out your retirement days. Yeah, it's what we call a roof over your head or our head, yeah. Most of us lived and own our HDB flats. It is your home, where you raise your family, and possibly where you want to grow old in. If fully paid up, it may be one of your biggest assets. If it's not fully paid up, aim to do so before you retire. 4 ways your HDB flat can help you to support retirement. We will discuss 3 of them. Rather not discuss, maybe we will share with you 3 of them, where the value comes from the house itself. There's one other way, which is to rent out a room. So the 3 ways that we just mentioned, there are basically 2-room flexi flats. Then there's the silver housing bonus. And finally, the lease buyback scheme. Each of these schemes have its own characteristics, and a lot of the details can be found in the hdbgov.sg website. Yeah. So go there if you want to look for the details, the eligibility criteria. Finally, we talk about the retirement checklist. We have access to health and medical care. Many people in the world may not have this access. So when you need a major hospital and medical care, where is your financial support going to come from? Yeah, you can go to the CPF website for the details of these. But over here, very briefly, we essentially have what we call a MediSave account in our CPF. This MediSave account can pay for hospitalization, day surgeries, and certain outpatient expenses. It also pays for the premium for your MediShield Life and ElderShield insurance. MediShield Life. This is our national basic health insurance plan. It is compulsory and is automatically set up for you. So what it does is it helps pay for large hospital bills and selected costly outpatient treatments. While the ElderShield is really a severe disability insurance plan. It pays for long-term care expenses when you are not able to do activities of daily living or ADLs. Things like washing yourself, dressing up, transferring, and so on. When you are already past 50, you will have to do late-stage planning if you have not done any planning at all. Now, how to do so? 3 things you need to look at. 1, take stock. What do you have now? What would you need later? 2, identify the gap. What's the gap? Is there a shortfall or surplus of what? Earlier on, we talked about your retirement need, which are the expenses, and then your retirement income. So the difference between the two is what we call the gap. So if your need is bigger than your income, then you're going to have a shortfall. So if you have a shortfall, what must you do? You must bridge the gap. You must make some adjustments. And then what are the actions you must take? Knowing is one thing, doing it is another. Step 1, take stock. What do I have today? So you just take a rundown on the list, you'll see CPF, check out your CPF balances. Are they enough to cover your full retirement sum at retirement? What about your house? Is it fully paid up or is there still a mortgage on it? Do you have life insurance? This could supplement your retirement income when they mature. Do you have medical and healthcare insurance coverage? Review them. Investments, do you have them? Yes, you need to take a look at them every year so that you know what you need to do about them to help you in your retirement. And most importantly, do you have debts? Debts could take away all that you have built up. So you be careful with it. If you have existing debts, please find a way to pay them off. So what do you need? You need to establish a retirement budget. Because there's a retirement income and retirement expenses. If it's not enough, you can actually set a retirement budget. Step 2, identify your gaps between income and need. Housing loan fully paid? Other debts fully settled? Retirement expenses adjusted and managed? Retirement income? Do you need more? Your CPF, would they provide you the annuity? Other assets, such as investments and so on, that could buffer your retirement. That's where we talk about surplus and deficit earlier on. Now the step 3 is, of course, to bridge the gap. If there is a gap, gather information about your CPF, about your HDB property. If you are reaching 55, make an appointment to see to the CPF board. Go visit them, understand where you stand. Or you can talk to a financial planner. Yeah, you can continue to work if you are strong and able, and rethink when you should retire. Take a look at your property. Consider unlocking the value of your home. And of course, adjust your retirement expectations to fit your retirement budget. If you have not done planning before, it's still not too late. Take stock, okay? What I have today. Identify the gap. Is there a shortfall? Is there a surplus? And finally, build the gap. Know your options and make the necessary adjustments. Well, life is not over until the final whistle, or retirement is not over until retirement cannot get started even until the final whistle. So you can continue to build up your CPF RA, even though you did not reach full retirement sum at age 55. You can approach CPF and HDB to find out more about the schemes that can support you in retirement. I'm going to leave you with a thought. Think about this carefully. When you stop living at work, that's what most of us do all of our lives. And then you start to work at living. There's a time to work, there's a time now to live. And that, to me, is retirement. Think about it. We have now arrived at the end of this talk. And in order for us to know whether you have understood all that has happened, it's Q&A time. So if you have any question, please post it in the Facebook comment box, and we will seek to understand, to respond to your question. Now I have a question 1 that has just come up. What ways to reduce expenses during retirement if you are not working? Very good question, because it means that you understand that without your retirement income, your expenses cannot be as in the past. You need to reduce it. So you got the facts right, all right? So how? What are the ways to reduce those expenses? One is, of course, as we mentioned earlier, is to review your retirement expectations. Yeah, if you don't have enough money to go travel far and wide, you might want to travel just nearby. And your day-to-day expenses, are there things that you can reduce? Are there things that you can eliminate? Those are ways you can do as well. Question number 2. In your opinion, which are the best approach for retirement planning? Yeah, approaches are many. There's no best, because whatever is best will have to depend on the individual's situation. And that situation will depend on what you have in stock. Earlier on, like we say, take stock. So it must match, okay? So the best approach to retirement planning, some people think, would be to go talk to your financial planner. Yeah, that's also a good way. If you have a reliable a financial planner and they have all the information about your financial background, they might be able to help you. And it's personal, as you know, confidential, so that is one way. Of course, there are other ways. It's for you to read up on, to browse the website, look at the points that we talked about earlier, things like HDB, your CPF, your medical and healthcare. If you can understand how these things can be managed, that approach would be a very good approach. And then putting it together is the final step that you need to take. Of course, you can attend talks and you can learn all these other things. Now you have a third question that says, it's hard for me to make ends meet. How to start saving? Yeah, when you say ends meet, meaning that your expenses and your income cannot agree, yeah? So there could be a shortfall situation. So how do you start saving? Saving begins with a cents, like we said. It doesn't have to be a big sum of money. Every little thing you can save, put it aside. Now, saving can also mean a reduction in your expenses. As you reduce expenses, yeah, you have some money left over that you can save. Try. It can be hard, yeah. But you need, of course, a very clear mind about making a budget. The budget will help you to manage that limited resources you have to be able to then save. Should I continue to invest when I retire? Now, investing, like we said earlier on, carries with it a market risk. It could grow significantly, or it could completely be wiped out. So you need to understand investments before you invest. So when you retire, always remember your runway has gotten shorter. Yeah. And when your runway is shorter, it simply means that you cannot afford to take unnecessary risk. So think about it before you embark on investing when you retire. Question 5, if I do not hit the minimum amount for my CPF retirement account, do I really need to seek ways to top it up? Would they still give me my monthly payout? Yeah, your retirement sum, there are different levels depending on the plans you take. If you do not meet the level at 55, yeah, you can still draw out 5,000. But if you want more, you can also pledge your property. But you must at least be able to keep that basic retirement sum. So it's important that you, like we earlier mentioned, that before you reach your 55th birthday, you may want to go visit the CPF board, meet up with the officers there, and look at your situation and understand what are the options available. You will still get your monthly payout, but of course, if you don't have sufficient sum of 60,000, you won't be able to get onto the CPF Life program. Like I said earlier, talk to CPF board for the details. Okay, next question. I'm 73 years. Can I join ElderShield now? ElderShield is what you call a pooling system. It's an insurance plan, but it's a pooling system. As you get older, in fact, earlier on in your life, it will automatically be taken out for you, and you pay through your MediSave. ElderShield was started quite some time back. In this coming year, next year, there will be the CareShield Life, which is a bit like ElderShield, except that it covers you for a lifetime. Can you still join it? Yeah, I suggest, as far as I understand, you're probably a little off the deadline. So I suggest that you go talk to CPF board. Also, there's a premium involved as well. The question to really check out is, what is the premium? Can you afford to join it? Now, of course, CPF board, ElderShield will have its own, what I call date restrictions. You can check that out with them. Question 7, how do we know we got money in our CPF to invest? Yeah, you have what we call your OA account before you reach 55. You have your OA account, your SA account, and your MediSave account. The ordinary account is where you use the money to invest or to pay for your housing and insurance and investments as well. Yeah. So I suggest you take a look at the funds balances. Yeah. Talk to CPF board. Yeah. And learn about what your balances are and what you can put aside for each of these possibilities here. What is the difference between OA and RA? Yeah, OA, like I said, is ordinary account and is used for those purposes that I just mentioned. And your RA is a retirement account. This only happens, the RA can only happen when you hit 55. The balances in your OA and your SA account or special account will then be transferred over to your RA account. And the money in your RA account is used then to buy your CPF Life, your annuity, which will then at 65 allow you to have a monthly payout. I think the next question says, is it correct higher retirement will allow us to draw more at age 65? Yeah, if that's what you mean, is it correct higher retirement account balances will allow you to draw more at age 65? Yes, of course, because the more money you have in your retirement account is equivalent to having a bigger premium that you can pay for your retirement payouts. What is the maximum age for a person to buy annuity insurance? If it's a private insurance, if I remember, I can't tell you exactly what the numbers are, but I remember a friend of mine who reached 65 plus at that point, and he had like 35,000, doesn't know what to do with it. And so he eventually bought an annuity, but that completely wipes out his retirement account. But at 35,000, today he is easily 75 years old. Yeah, and he's getting a pittance, a very small sum of money every month. $250 or so. Yeah, so annuity is something where you buy in order to cover you to a longer period of time. So for CPF Life, for example, is to cover you all the way until the end of life. And to get the right payout, yeah, the sum has to be a larger sum that goes in and then be able to pay out. What is your take on early CIs? This is a very specific question. You must ask your financial planner, right? Critical illnesses, yeah. You say, is it more for young and not so much for us, the elderly? Yeah, because it's critical illness, we don't know, yeah. But if you look at the statistics, yeah, they might show you the way that certain illnesses can happen at any time in anybody's life, right? So it's difficult for me to give you the information on this. Yeah, you check out with your financial planner. Where to engage a financial planner? How much does it cost roughly? Where to engage? Yeah, it's just an insurance agent, except that today they have classes of them. We have what we call independent financial advisor, yeah, or those who are linked with insurance companies, yeah. So if you don't know them, you can just check it out and then talk to some of them and see what kind of advice they are giving you. Yeah, you have the right to study the market, understand what your needs are. You mentioned bonds are I didn't say very safe investment. I said they are rather safe investments. Can you please advise what bonds are safe? You know, the safest bonds, of course, are the ones that our Singapore saving bonds, yeah, where it's issued by the government. Yeah, you can buy something for like 10 years. And then every 6 months, you get what you call an interest. And it is guaranteed by the government. Your principal will not ever be lost. So you can actually sell it at any time as well. So there's a level of liquidity. Of course, if you buy those, there are international bonds of different nature. You need to study them. You need to understand. And they are always wanting you to buy it for the longer term. I opted out from ElderShield. Am I be able to join the Cashew Life? Yeah, basically, if you have opted out, I don't know when this happened, was probably from very early on, yeah. And you want to join Cashew Life, I think there is a deadline. I can't quite remember the details. Again, you can check this out, all right, from the CPF board. I think there is a deadline, yeah, very close to about this time. Check it out, yeah. If I keep my retirement funds in 3 ways, 1/3 short-term, that is cash, 1/3 medium-term, that is bonds and shares, and 1/3 long-term CPF. Is this a sensible way? Yeah, your question is very much what we call asset allocation. You have this pool of assets and you want to allocate it this way. Again, this is a very specific question that you may want to ask your financial planner. They all have plans of this nature where you can then put your money into it. Of course, there are different portfolios and you need to go take a look at them. All right, so you need to actually talk to your financial planner. They have a range of possibilities for you to look at. But whatever you do, always remember, take the information, pick up a lot of information, yeah, and begin to study them, and then look at the options available, look at your resources, so that you are matching them. Yeah. Yeah. So that will be your the last question that I'm getting from you folks out there. I hope it has been useful to you, and you, most importantly, this is a short talk, and we want you to know where you can get your help from, or a lot of the details from. Just go visit CPF, your HDB, and your healthcare programs. Talk to your financial planner as well. Okay, we have now reached that end, and we have this slide here, NSA e-nugget series. If you find our talk useful, do like and share the video with your family and friends to help them pick up these useful tips at their own pace and convenience. To learn more about our workshop, Retirement, Are You Financially Ready? And other NSA courses conducted by Credit Counseling Singapore, you can contact us at 6225-5227. Or you can email us at education@ccs.org.sg. Or you can visit our website, www.ccs.org.sg/CRP. Please also contact 6478-5029 or visit www.nsa.org.sg to explore the many learning opportunities for seniors aged 50 and above. Like and follow the C3A Facebook page to be notified of new content in the future. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.